Live.
Due to some violent content, parental discretion is advised.
What's your name again? It's always something. Always something going on.
Oh, I don't know what this thing is.
All right, here we go.
I think it's a strip show, dance show.
Work there, dude.
Welcome to
DeaconLive.
DeaconLive.
Welcome back, guys. On today's show, how much is Netflix paying for their personal flight attendants? And are you Beezin? Also, why eating fish caught in the United States is bad for you. All this and much, much more will be discussed here on Deacon Live. How are you? How are things? How are things going? Are you doing okay? Are you getting along with everyone? Are you getting everything set up right? Are you getting your Christmas decorations put away? Are you getting everything ready for Valentine's Day? What's the next holiday? Valentine's Day, I guess, is the next thing coming around. And I guess they've got it all in Walmart right now. All the Valentine's Days up and on the shelves. And then where we go? Easter, March, May, Easter, and then I don't know. I don't follow these things. I rely on my calendar and my personal phone and stuff. Actually, I rely on the social media to let me know what next holiday is coming around. And we'd like to thank you guys for joining us. And if you'd like to be part of the show, the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio, click on social contacts, and you can see all the links that links us to you and you to us as well. We're on TikTok, we're on YouTube, we're on Instagram, we're on that dying platform called Twitter, we're on all that stuff. So make sure you go over there, like, subscribe, and you can see all the stuff that goes on here in the studio. And just a little note to you guys, the audio that you hear on iHeartRadio and on Spotify and iTunes and all that is not the same thing that you're hearing on the YouTube version of the show. The version of the show that you see on YouTube is the live performance. Thank you very much. Acting. But the audio that you hear on like iHeart and iTunes and stuff, we have to trim that down so it fits into a certain slot on their platform. And that way we can add all the commercials in. We can add all our luxurious sponsors that we appreciate very much to keep Deacon Live alive, for lack of a better term. So that's the YouTube video. Hold on. That's probably something else going on. Like stuff like that. Let's see what's going on. Now it's taking forever. Anyways. So, what you're seeing on the YouTube channel is not what appears on iHeartRadio and vice versa as well. Now, I would like to tell you, when I ask you guys, how are you guys doing? You say great or not great or anything like that. I like to give you a little behind the scenes as far as what's going on in the Deacon Live life here on the property. Now, if you guys have listened to the show or been a fan of the show for many years now, you know that I've purchased several years ago a 1992 Nissan D21 is what they call them, D21. And what it is just a small little quarter-ton stick shift, five stick shift, 5 on the floor. And it's got a clutch and all that stuff with a stick shift. And it's a 1992. It's a classic. If it's not a classic, it's close to being an antique. I forget what the threshold is as far as calling it an antique or a classic. So we bought this truck, and it was just going to be just a simple farm vehicle. The reason why we got the truck is because my wife was in an accident with the other farm vehicle that we had, or our personal vehicle that we turned into a farm vehicle, which is a 2004 Ford Explorer SR5 series or something like that. It was a real nice car. Took great care of it. Unfortunately, someone ran a stop sign here on these these 2-lane country road back roads. Had their parents' car, and one guy was showing off for his friends, and sure enough, flew right through a stop sign, tagged my wife's car in the back driver's side quarter panel, spun her around, and that car was done. So they gave us a settlement, and we went out and had to buy some kind of farm vehicle, to haul hay, to pick up feed and all that stuff. We're not using our, $100,000, $200,000 vehicles that we have out here to haul hay around. Nope, I'm not going to let it happen. My wife tries to do it now and then. I'm like going, nope. We have a 2017 Audi Q5 that's sitting out there in the garage, and technically, I got in it the other day, and it smells still like a brand new car inside, and I like to keep it that way. And, of course, you guys heard that we personally or recently received our truck from Chevy that we ordered, 2022 2500 Chevy Silverado. So I want to keep that looking nice and neat as well. So we kind of beat on the actually, I'm going to fix this because I actually don't like this a little bit. So let's go, what was it, 60, 50? Let's go 50. Let's go this right here. And so we can beat on the little red truck and not feel bad about it. I know, it's a classic. Why are you beating on a classic? So Thanksgiving came around, and we were driving this vehicle around just to do odds and end chores. We live out in the middle of nowhere. It's, 7-8 miles direct to some kind of life form, some kind of gas station. But there's nothing around us. So we usually drive the little red truck around because they're 2-lane country roads. It's just, long drive, to go anywhere. And everything was working fine. And then we had that cold snap here in the Carolinas where it got down for a couple nights below 10 degrees. I don't know if that was part of the issue, but after that went through, the Arctic front that went through, I got into the little red truck and I felt the brakes, and the brakes almost went all the way to the floor. I'm like, all right, well, I don't see any leakage underneath. I don't know what's going on. So I decided to turn it in to our local mechanic here. And he's done this right before, which is fine. And so I turned it in. I'm like, oh, hey, it needs an oil change. We only changed the oil. I barely have 4,000 miles a year on this vehicle. So if you want to do the math on that and how many days, if I drive it twice a month, what's the math on that? And so I told my dad, I'm like, Dad, follow me up to the mechanics. I'm going to drop this off, have the oil change, and then they're going to look at the brakes. All right, no problem. So we drive up to the mechanic's office and drop it off, say, hey, this is what's going on. And they said, okay, we'll look at it. We'll diagnostic and do all that stuff. I'm like, all right, great. Drop it off. And I'm thinking, maybe, the brake lines need to be flushed. Like there's air in the brake lines. Well, what happens when you get air in the brake lines? Well, there's a leak somewhere. All right, so what happens if you have a leak somewhere? You fix the leak or replace the part that's leaking, and then you flush the brake lines out. And, you put everything back together and then that's fine. So I get a call and they said, okay, we've done the full diagnostic of your whole entire truck. And they're like going, your whatever one backup light doesn't work on the truck. I'm like going, look, guys, I don't need that kind of in-depth investigation on my truck. I brought it in for this, and I appreciate you doing the whole entire, 1,500 point inspection on my vehicle. Oh, the air filter needs to be cleaned. Of course it does. No matter what, you could have it in there for 2 days. They're going to say the air filter needs to be cleaned. All right, change the air filter. And, the oil change is fine. Everything's good. And then we saw that there's a leak and stuff, and we'll dive into it and get you a better response as far as what's going to happen there. All right, well, great. So they give me a call back within less than 24 hours, and they say, okay, Mr. Deacon, we've searched, we've looked over your whole entire vehicle. We've run diagnostic on everything, and your vehicle, there's a leak in the system somewhere. All right, somewhere. Very vague on that. So we're going to need a couple more hours to investigate where the leak is coming from. All right, no problem. Standard practice. I'm going to take a short little break, and then when we come back, I'm going to tell you the price that they quoted me as far as once they found the leak, how much it's going to cost to fix it, and then they come back a little bit later and tell me that, oh, no, it's not that price. It's going to be this price. All right, guys, stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks, and the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio. Click on social contacts, and while you're there, make sure you fill out that little form that says free swag, and we'll send you out some magnets, some stickers. We have a whole bunch of stuff here in the studio, some gear just to say thank you for listening to us and being a part of the show. Believe me, I'm not going to do anything with your email address. It's not an email grab or anything like that. I just want to say thank you, and just for showing some love for you, and just for showing some love to us, I'd like to show some love to you by giving you some stuff here from the studio. Now, so my truck's sitting at this dealership that has done a lot of work for me, and I say a lot of work. Oil change, tire rotations, fixed my AC. AC was, somewhat comparable as far as price. I wasn't too upset about that. We worked out a deal as far as what they should charge for fixing my AC, because I had it for like 3 weeks and they couldn't figure it out. Well, it's not my fault. You couldn't figure it out. So now we get into the pedal on my 1992 Nissan D21. It's a bench seat, stick shift, 5-speed on the floor. And it runs great. I mean, the AC works great. It's cold in the summertime, hot in the wintertime. It fires right up. It is an older vehicle. It's got over 215,000 miles on it, so it does burn oil. It's expected. It's an old car, so you always check your levels as far as the oil. So I'm pulling the dipstick out every time we go out, make sure it's got oil in it. And then one thing I don't check is the brake fluid, because you're like it's brake fluid. It's a sealed system. Other than a leak, it should not go away. So the mechanic's office calls me and says, and it's a young kid. Hello, may I speak to Mr. Deacon, please? All right. Tommy, what's going on? We looked at your brakes, and we need to replace the whole entire lines because we can't find where the leak is, and it's just better to replace them because there could be fragments and particles in your lines. The brake pads are fine, the rotors are fine, and everything. We just need to. All right, how much is it there, Tommy? Sir, it's going to be $1,500, but that includes the oil change and the air filter change out. All right, so let's say it's $200 for the oil change and the air filter takeout. I know. I'm overpricing that, right? So $1,300. I said, fine. But we really recommend you take out the master cylinder and put in a new master cylinder. I said, look, Tommy, I said, I drove it there. I barely put 4,000 miles on it per year. Can we just ignore the master cylinder and I'll check it just like the oil in my truck? It burns oil. I have to add oil to it. Can I just check the brake fluid every time I go? Well, yes, sir, you can do that, but we don't recommend it. All right, fine. So you're not going to do the master cylinder? No, I'm not going to do the master cylinder. Fix everything else there, Tommy, like a good little boy. And let me know when it's done, and I'll come pick it up. Okay, sir. I don't know if you're going to like this, but all right. So he hangs up the phone. And I'm doing stuff here on the property, doing my thing. So I get a call a couple hours later. It's Tommy. Hi, Mr. Deacon. Yes. I don't think I'm going to be able to release this car to you, even if we fix the brake lines, unless you get the master cylinder changed out, because it's not 100% fixed. And my manager's telling me that I can't release the vehicle to you unless the master cylinder and the whole entire thing's fixed 100%. All right, Tommy. How much is it going to cost to replace the master cylinder? And I'm going to nix the voice there. It's $1,900 now. I said, okay, so it's $400 to replace the master cylinder. I said, how much is the master cylinder? Well, depending on where you get it from, it can be anywhere from $100 to $300. I said, okay. I'm looking it up online. Master cylinder, 1992 Nissan D21. I got one here for $53. I got one here for $53. Yeah, I know, sir, but there's a lot of stuff and other stuff. I said, all right, Tommy, don't do anything. Have you done the oil change? Yes. Have you done the air filter? Yes. I said, don't do anything. I'll come up and get the car and bring it home. Well, we can't let it leave the lot. Why? Because you can't drive it because it's unsafe or unfit for the road. You could lose the brakes at any given time. And I said, okay, it's weird. I said I drove it up there just fine, but I can't drive it home. No, the brakes could go at any minute. Okay. Scare tactics. I'll come up there with my truck, my $150,000 Chevy Silverado 2500 series with all the cameras and bells and whistles on it. I'll tow it home. I've got a tow rope and I'll pull it home. Can I do that? Well, let me check with my manager. It's funny when I do the voice. Let me check with my manager. So he comes back and he goes, no, because you can't stop the truck when it's in tow. I said, Jesus Christ. I said, so, Tommy, what am I supposed to do? Do you have a tow truck company up there? And I literally live 6 miles from the location. I could push it home if I wanted. If I wanted to get down there and throw some gloves on and put my hiking shoes on, I'll push the goddamn truck home if I have to. No, you can't tow it. You can't do all this stuff. You have to tow it home physically off the ground and, bring it to your house. So I'm asking around all my neighbors and stuff. Do you have one of those tow dollies or tow buddies or whatever? Do you have a trailer that can put my truck on it and I can bring it home? I'm even thinking to myself, I'm going to go up there, pay for it, push the truck across the road. Now it's a 4-lane highway. I'm not going to get all crazy with it. Get it off their property, jump in it, start it up, and then drive it home. But then, it's a small town of 2,500 people. News like that floats around. And, there's Deacon. Oh, we love your show, asshole. You don't want to pay, you don't want to give us a chance to tow your vehicle home. Everyone helps everyone in this small community. So I reached out to my small community as far as, can someone help me get this truck home, towing it home for less than, the $150 they're going to charge me for a tow truck service? Nothing. No answer. No, nothing. And I'm like going, ain't this some shit? Well, welcome to Marshville. And I always say, we broadcast just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a beautiful little town we like to call Marshville. I'm taking that back now. This beautiful little town of Marshville has gotten, I don't know, is it me? Is it the city boy? Is it the city lifestyle that I've grown up in? And now I'm reaching out to a community where technically I don't contribute to the community. I don't contribute to any of the festivals or anything that goes on here. I try to promote good health and wealth here in our local establishment, but I really don't. I'm not part of any church. I'm not part of any community around here. So maybe if I was, which is sad, it's like a membership. Oh, you want to play golf here? Are you a member? No. All right, that'll be $3,000 for the front 9 and $7,000 for the back 9. Oh, you're a member here? Oh, by all means, come in, Mr. Honeycutt, and go play golf for free. And that's the way I'm starting to feel, because I'm, this person, this radical person that has a talk show in the middle of a town of 2,500 people that don't know their ass from their elbow from the ground. And we're getting more people that are putting in houses around here. There's a development that went down the road from us. The houses are selling for $300,000, and they're 4-corner houses. All you realty people out there know what a 4-corner house is. It's exactly that. There is only 4 corners on the house. And they're 2 stories, and they're selling them for $300,000, and they're on less than an acre. They're like on a 1/4 acre. And then they're building another neighborhood, and I'm pointing left and right here if you're watching me on the video. And there's another neighborhood going in down the road. They're clearing stuff. The people are selling their leased land that they were having crops and stuff, corn, cattle. They're selling those. They're dividing those lands up, or the areas up, and they're building houses because we've got this new expressway that basically dumps everyone into our backyard. You know, from Charlotte, you can get from Charlotte to our neighborhood or to this area in less than 35 minutes when normally it took an hour and a half. So people are building up out here. So what are you going to tell those people down the road? Well, they're getting prepared because they're telling this person who's been here for 10 years that we can't fix your truck and you're not allowed to leave the neighborhood. You're not allowed to leave our parking lot because you've got this truck that's got bad brakes. Give me a fucking break. So I've got to figure out a way to get my truck home in this neighborhood, this Gestapo neighborhood, because I'm not part of anything. So I can get someone here locally. A friend of mine is a mechanic, and he can come over, and he's like, oh, yeah, that's all that's wrong with it? Oh, I can do that for, less than X amount of dollars. So I'm like, all right, we're going to do that. So there we go. I'll let you know what happens as soon as I get the truck home. All right, guys, I got a big show to get into. I know, enough of my gums flapping, and a lot to get into. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your YouTube channels, not on your YouTube channels, but make sure you follow us on all your social networks. Let's try that again. See? Behind the scenes. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks, and we'd like to hear from you, and you can be part of the show at any given time, and the way you can do that is go over to Prophet Radio, Prophet Radio. Click on the blue bar. There's a little blue tab on the page. It says Be Heard. Click on that. Opens up a microphone on whatever device you're watching us on or listening to us, and you can be podcast famous. Speak right into it. You can be anonymous if you want. I don't care who you are. I just love to hear from you and hear what you have to say. If you want to talk about any of the 300 plus shows that we have here on Deacon Live, or if you want to ask me a question or anything about future projects that we have going on, I'd love to hear from you. You can be anonymous, like I said, as well. Now, Orlando, Florida, or Florida in general, used to be the lightning capital of the world. They said around the Volusia County area has always been the lightning capital of the world. Now, recently, studies have shown that Geneva, Florida, has now taken that honor as being the lightning capital of the whole entire world. Still in the state of Florida, but they have more lightning strike. Let's see what they say. Last year brought in not only hundreds of millions of lightning strikes across the United States, but violent volcanic eruptions that trigger most of this. All right, so on and so forth. Reports tally a cloud-to-cloud strike or a ground-to-cloud strike, cloud-to-ground strikes across the nation in the National Lightning Detection Network, the NLDN, across the globe. Both instruments can detect lightning strikes 24/7 every day of the year. In mid-January, those instruments were very busy when I don't want to talk about that. Florida is still the lightning king for density. Those previous rankings are weighed by geography. The larger the state, the more real estate to host thunderstorms. If we track lightning by density and convert them to square kilometers per square miles, Florida becomes a clear winner with 285 lightning strikes per square mile in 2022. The reports deem that Four Corners area to be the lightning capital of the world, where Lake, Orange, and Osceola counties all meet. The Four Corners there. The Four Corners community, located right next to Walt Disney World, prime location on that, has the most lightning strikes in any community since in 2022. The average five times the lightning density is what's considered for an average of Florida. This year, Geneva, Florida, in Seminole County, was given the new trophy for being the lightning capital of the world. So if you live in Geneva, put your tinfoil hats on or make sure that you're grounded. But the reason why I tell you that is because scientists have used powerful lasers to divert lightning bolts. Using lasers to divert potential damaging lightning strikes may sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but some clever folks across the pond have apparently achieved such a feat. The technology if fully developed, would be more effective than the long use Franklin rods that we have, around our area, where basically you have a lightning, some kind of brass or copper instrument on top of your house, and then you got these horrible cables that run down and they go into the ground and divert the electricity into the ground instead of into your house. The researcher team, led by physicist, oh God, I'm going to mess this name up. He's from France, so we are from France. So let's see. His name is, make sure I got all this potted up so everyone can hear it. His name is
Aurélien. Wow.
That guy in France spent time experimenting with lasers on the Swiss mountain with telecommunication with a telecommunication tower, which, perhaps not surprisingly, sees a fair share of lightning coming its way. So researchers have involved with aiming a powerful pulse of high repetitions from a high repetition rate terawatt laser towards the clouds close to the mountain and high-speed cameras to see what happens, with the footage from the lightning strike showing that the bolt following the laser for about 150 to 50 meters. According to the team, firing the laser pulse ionizes the molecules in the air and produce a highly conductive channel for plasma for the electrical discharge to flow along. So metal rods used almost everywhere to protect from lightning strikes, but in this area they can protect it's limited to a few meters. All right. The hope is to extend the protection a few hundred meters, that we have enough energy in the laser to do that. So traditionally, you have these lightning rods and stuff that are up on top of your house, and they only can, attract for a couple meters and so, and bring the lightning in and then disperse it underground. With this new laser that they have going out there, it creates a new channel. Hey, don't go that way, go this way. They fire the laser into the cloud or the lightning realizes those ionized charges, follows that laser right down into something else. I don't know. I mean, does it destroy the machine that does the laser? Maybe they bounce it off a mirror or something like that. So they're using lasers to divert electricity strikes out there in France. Now, if you don't mind flying around the air in domestic or international flights and don't have to worry about lightning strikes, Netflix is looking to hire a flight attendant, and the job pays up to $385,000 a year. Now, you're going, wow, that's for a flight attendant? That's great. The streaming giant is looking for a flight attendant to join the Netflix aviation department out of San Jose. The pay range, this is where I don't understand. The pay range from this job is common. A pay range from this job is very common, but from Netflix, as a flight attendant based in San Juan, California. I'm sorry, it's not San Juan. Totally messed that up. San Jose, California. I'm thinking I get a free vacation in Puerto Rico. The Netflix giant is looking for a flight attendant to join its aviation department out of San Jose. The pay range from the job is common, but one from Netflix as a flight attendant based out of San Jose, California is pretty wild. Netflix is hiring a flight attendant with a salary range starting at $60,000 a year all the way up to $385,000 a year. As a Netflix flight attendant, you're expected to embrace the culture, which places a strong emphasis on operating with freedom and responsibility with an independent of a lot of self-motivation. Netflix, like any other large company, has an aviation arm to coordinate its executive business-related travels. Top executives in the company, as well as their families and guests, are allowed to use the company's aircraft for personal transportation. Other people apparently involved in the company's flight operations are Jay Owen, Director of Aviation, and Chad Brewer, Aviation Safety Manager, according to the LinkedIn profile. Okay, so the job involves being aware of potential sensitive issues for the company or the people using its aircraft. The ideal candidate must demonstrate this discretion, and also the job requires someone to be able to maintain and provide or provisions a stockroom, handling flight attendant duties for a super mid-size jet solo by themselves, around 7 to 9 seats, and assist with trips on the Gulfstream G550 jet, and plan to intend a plane intended for business travel. The job is based in San Jose and puts about 15 minutes away from the company's headquarters in Los Gatos. And the role reports to a flight attendant manager. People who apply for this position also will face a background check and a schedule that requires holidays and weekends. Flights will be international and domestic as well. So you say, okay, what's with the, $60,000 or $385,000? What qualifies you? Let's say I'm a flight attendant. All right. I'm a flight attendant. Now, I'm a flight attendant, and I've been doing this for years. I've worked for either one company for a long time or several companies, and I have really, really good accolades as far as my job and stuff. So do I get the $385,000 a year job? Or is it one of those things like, hey, look, this is Netflix. This is the Netflix plane. And a lot of executives are going to be on this flight. We like to wheel and deal. We're going to fly across the country. You might see some shit go down on this plane. You might have to bury a body. But if you don't ask questions, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to hide evidence or do anything of that nature? Yeah. And I'd be like, hell yeah, let's do it. My fingerprints are already burned off. I don't care. I wear false teeth. There's no getting my dental records. I'll do anything you want there, Mr. Netflix. And, there's strip clubs on the plane. And then, in the same sense, the plane lands and the same family or the same guys that got off the plane are now getting on the plane within 24 hours with their family. And you're like going, hey, were you doing like cocaine and stuff? And no. You have to keep that all under wraps. All under wraps. So, yes, I would do it for $385,000. But I would want some kind of stipulation. Every time I saw something I was not supposed to see, I want a bonus at the end of the year. If I saw anything and nothing came out in the media, I would want a additional bonus, a rider on my contract for at least $1 million. That's what I would want. I'm just saying. That's what they're doing. I want them in my hand. I don't want to play the fool. All right, guys, stick around. A couple more things to talk about, and we'll let you get back to doing what you got to do. Stick around. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Welcome back to Deacon Live. You want something for free? Well, we'd love to give you something for free, and the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on the free swag section and fill out that little form there. We have some stickers, a whole bunch of stuff to give you, and it's not an email grab. Believe me, we just want to say thank you for listening to us, and we'll send it out to you as quickly as we possibly can. And for those listening overseas, might take at least a couple weeks to get out there to you. We normally group them all up and ship them out at one time, so bear with us as we ship them out overseas. But still, nonetheless, go over there and fill out that little form there, pick out some stuff, and we'll send it out to you. Now, we were talking about being a flight attendant. And, if you want a new job to start off the new year right, that could be a good job. I knew a girl. That's what her job was. She was based out of Dallas, Texas for a long time. This is a high school friend of mine. and she flew out of Dallas, Texas, and she, flew all over the country and stuff. And then she got transferred to Orlando, Florida, where I was living at the time. And she was like going, hey, I'm in town. Let's, go hang out and party and stuff. So we get a group of friends together, she was only in town for like once every 2 months, and we'd all get together and we all hang out and party. And it was great times, like old high school friends getting back together and doing the, getting drunk and falling down on our faces, like we did when we were like 15 or something. But one thing now that, it's a new year and you're watching your diet and you're watching everything that's going on as far as, I'm not allowed to eat carbs. I'm not allowed to eat this. My wife, it's hard to do the certain diets, at least in our household. My wife wants to do the Whole30. She loves doing Whole30 and she stays on it, for a good long time. But there's a lot of dedication being on the Whole30 diet. And unfortunately, because of Christmas and the New Year, and then it's my birthday, and then there's a lot of stuff going on, in the month of January, when you do your resolutions, you're like going, all right, January 1st, this is what we're doing. Unfortunately, a week later is my birthday. And of course it's, beer, cake, parties, pizza, all that stuff. And so you have to put a deadline. All right, let's get through January and then we'll start the Whole30 diet. And then my wife, her birthday's coming around in February, so I don't know what's going to happen there. It's probably going to start right back up and over again. Then you got February, you have Valentine's Day, so I have to take her out to Valentine's Day dinner, which is hard to get into a Whole30 diet. It's complicated. It really is. Being on a diet, I'm just going to say our diet doesn't start until after all the festivities at the beginning of the year has finished. So we probably won't start our diet until like March 4th or something crazy like that. Oh no, I can't, because then we have our anniversary, which is March 29th. So April, I'm going with April. Our diet's not going to start till April. We have to get past all these celebration things. But one thing that people say, okay, I'm going to start my diet. I'm going to eliminate carbs. I'm not going to eat as many carbs, or I'm not going to do them. I'm going to eat them in the morning or not eat them at night, or whatever the case may be. And one of the biggest offenders of carbs is pasta. Now, I love pasta. Actually, I don't know if I love pasta or I love the sauce on the pasta. That's the thing that I like. I like a nice, good sauce or gravy, if you're from that community, on pasta. And when you're having a household budget, pasta is very, very inexpensive. The gravy in the jar is pretty much inexpensive as well, and you can save a lot of money feeding a family. Now, studies have shown right now that actually pasta is healthier than you think, and even healthier than leftovers you have in your refrigerator. A new year, new you, new diet. This is a familiar trend that everyone has partaken with. One popular dieting technique is to create a food blacklist, meaning like quitting carbs or packaged foods, avoiding supermarket staples like pasta as well. We don't really need to ban pasta to improve our diets. This is what we call a reduction. This is what we call a reductionist approach to nutrition. We describe it as a food base on just one of its key components. Pasta isn't just carbohydrates. 1 cup of pasta, cooked pasta, is about 38 grams of carbohydrates, 7.7 grams of protein, and 0.6 grams of fat. Plus, there is all the water that's absorbed from cooking, lots of vitamins, and plus there's a lot of water absorbed from cooking and a lot of vitamins and minerals. But pasta is mostly carbs. You hear that all the time. You probably know that there are recommendations of how much energy or calories we should eat per day. These recommendations are based on body size, sex, and physical activity. You might not realize that they are also recommendations about the profile of macronutrients or types of food that supply energy. Fats, carbs, and proteins are macronutrients. Macronutrients are broken down in the body and produce energy for our bodies. A simple ratio or percentage of macronutrients that should provide this energy. These ranges are set by experts based in the health outcomes and models of healthy eating. To aim the acceptable micronutrients distribution ranges aims to make sure that we have enough but not too much of each micro or macro. Consuming too much or too little of any type of food has consequences for health. The ratios are also designed to make sure that we get enough vitamins, minerals that come with the energy in the food that we typically eat. We should get 45 to 65% of our energy through carbohydrates, 10 to 30% from proteins, and 20 to 35% from fats. Macronutrients ratios mean it can be healthier to eat up to 1.2 to 6.5 times more carbohydrates in a day than protein, since a gram of protein has the same amount of energy as a gram of carbohydrates. The ratio of carbs and protein in pasta is 38 grams to 7.7 grams, which equates to roughly a 5-to-1 ratio within the acceptable amount of macronutrients distribution range, meaning pasta has enough protein to balance out the carbohydrates. This isn't just because of the eggs in the pasta either. Wheat is another source of protein, making up about 20% of the proteins eaten globally. So if you're worried about the calorie levels and weight gain, that's not so simple either. Instead of quitting spaghetti, consider reducing the sizes of portion and switching to whole grain pasta or a higher fiber content, which has benefits for gut health and can help you feel fuller longer. So do me a favor, don't quit pasta. Thank you, news article about pasta. But, for me, you look at like a cup full of pasta. Now, I have been doing the whole 30 in limbo, in tandem with my wife, and I try not to do this and I try not to do that. I make healthier choices when both of us are trying to be on the whole 30 diet. And so my biggest concern is I'm going to feel hungry. When I feel hungry, what do I snack on? I don't care about the meals themselves. I'll eat the meals all day long. Breakfast, if you want to cook me these whole 30 egg white omelet, blah, 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 I'll eat that. For lunch, if you want me to eat, salad with a little bit of vinegar, olive oil on it, fine, no problem. If you want me to eat this for dinner, some kind of grass-fed beef or whatever, fine. It's the in-between stuff that I'm having a problem with, and that's what I'm afraid of, that I'm going to have to sit there and be hungry, and I'm a total mess if I'm hungry, because I was literally shut down and not move. I don't know. But my wife understands what I'm saying. But, I mean, I'm sure you do, too. If you are hungry and you're not allowed to eat certain things, there needs to be something to substitute for what you're going to eat in those off times when you're not eating your main source of meal. Maybe I'll eat some pasta. That should go over well, right? Or I could have fish. Now, fish, we have a whole freezer. Well, we have a deep freezer that we have a whole bunch of salmon. Now, at Thanksgiving time, we always go to Costco. We always get like a whole bunch of stuff for Thanksgiving holiday. We get a lot of stuff for Christmas holidays, and then we kind of just taper off. And my wife loves to have, like, you can buy big flanks, big fillets, big steaks of salmon. And when I say big fillets, if you're looking at me here on the YouTube video, they're about this big. I mean, literally like 2.5 foot long. And at some points they're, 1.5 inch thick or almost 2 inches thick. And then they taper down to like 1/4 inch thick. And, you buy one of those. There's usually 2 fillets in a pack, the left and the right side of the fish. And it's like $40. And you're like going, well, that seems like a lot of money. But have you ever gone to the store and just bought a normal salmon? Like, it's like 2 inches wide, whatever the length of the salmon is. It's expensive. So we have a whole freezer full of these salmon steaks that we have. So you think, all right, fish is good. Fish is good to eat. I used to go surf fishing all the time. And, pull a whiting or two out of the surf out there. But there's a lot of people out there that actually like fish in like streams and lakes, and they take that fish home. I know a lot of people eat brim or catfish out of the lakes and streams. But they're saying, don't do that anymore. It's not as healthy as you think it is to eat those fish out of those lakes and streams. And you're saying, well, why? Why? Well, for more on this, I have this news article right here that describes why you shouldn't eat fish that comes out of our lakes and streams here in the United States, which is a sad story. So here we go.
Threat lurking where you'd least expect it, in our drinking water. We assume, of course, it's a silent threat lurking where you'd least expect it, in our drinking water. We assume, of course, it's safe, but scientists are warning about a common and potentially dangerous chemical that can survive in the ground and in our water forever.
On a cold winter day on the Stone Ridge Dairy Farm in Arundel, Maine, Fred Stone was more worried about his cows being cold than himself, especially his prized brown Swiss, named Blue.
She likes to give me a hard time as much as she can.
Fred and his wife Laura are only the latest generation to work this dairy. It's been in the family for over a century. But since November of today, those chemical cousins can still be found in the atmosphere too. Polyfluoroalkyl, potentially toxic chemicals down the drain. Milk, that white gold that's been a reliable livelihood for generations, is now being poured right down the drain.
So what they're saying is eating one freshwater fish caught in the rivers or lakes in the United States is the equivalent of drinking a month's worth of contaminated water with the toxic, quote unquote, forever chemicals. New researchers have said the invisible chemicals are called PFAS, were first developed in the 1940s to resist water and heat, and are now used in an item such as nonstick pans, textiles, fire suppression foams, and food packaging. But this indestructible PFAS means the pollutants have built up over time in our air, soil, lakes, rivers, flood, drinking water, even in our bodies. They have grown. They have been growing. There have been a growing calls for stricter regulations on the PFAS, which has been linked to a range of serious health issues, including liver damage, high cholesterols, reducing immune responses, and several kinds of cancers. To find out PFAS contaminations in local caught fish, a team of researchers analyzed more than 500 samples from rivers and lakes across the United States between 2013 and 2015. The mid-level of PFAS in the fish was 9,500 nanograms per kilogram, according to the study published in the Environmental Research Journal. Nearly 3/4 of the detected forever chemicals were PFOS, one of the most common and hazardous of the thousands of forms of PFAS. Nearly 3/4 of the... I already said that. Eating just one freshwater fish equal to drinking water with PFOS at 48 parts per trillion for the month, the researchers has calculated. Last year, the Environmental Protection Agency lowered the levels of the PFOS in drinking water as it considers it safe to 0.02 parts per trillion. The total levels found in freshwater fish was 278 times higher than what's been found in commercially sold fish, the studies say. So, you're out there like, oh, fresh caught, fresh whatever, fresh farmed, and then come to find out, hey, guess what, idiots? The stuff that you're trying to be naturally to buy as far as your fish products or anything like that, it's worse. It is totally worse because of the stuff that we have in 1940s, and we can't blame ourselves now. We can only just kind of adapt to it and figure out what's going on. And if you were born, here we go. You ready for this? Hold on, let me get this box out here. Here's my soapbox and put it on the ground. This was all created in 1940. So if you were born in 1940, 60 years is 2000, right? So 60 years, the average lifespan of a human is 75, or here in the United States is 75 years. So in 2017, you should be dead. So you're gone. Okay, to say that, but you should be gone. This is not going to affect you anymore. But then you get into the 1950s, 1960s. When is this going to fade away? When are we going to start fixing all the stuff that happened in the 1940s? How long does that have to take to circulate out? So if you do it now, we're all screwed, by the way, just to let you know, unless you start it in 2000. 2000, if you start circulating all this stuff out of our water, it's going to take another 50 years for us to cycle that out, and it's not in our food and water anymore. So when you say, this is free-range fish, they're caught in a lake and they do all this stuff, that's the worst thing you can do. I would want my fish in a pond or some kind of, you ever seen those fish farms where they're like everything's in like a blue tub and the water that they're running is like highly circulated and highly filtered and stuff? I want those fish. Unfortunately, if you want those fish are going to cost you 3 times as much as the stuff that they have actually in natural lakes. Oh, this is natural. This is natural. Look at it all. It's natural. This is they can see sunlight. There's algae and they're eating all that stuff. Yeah, there's also all those parafluorins, the PFAS all over the place, and they're getting, intoxicated with these products. So all you little hippies out there, and you're like going, everything's natural and it's better for us. No, it's not. Unfortunately, it's not. Do your studies, do your research, and stop following the signage that's on the corner of your local township. All right, guys, when we come back, are you Beezin? I'm ready to start Beezin right after this episode, and I'll get into that here in just one sec. You're listening to Deacon Live right here on Prophet Radio. I'll be right back. Are you there? Hello, darling. Hello, darling. Are you there? Conway Twitty for you. Welcome back to Deacon Live. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks. And the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on social contacts. And if you want to be podcast famous, we'd love for you to be alongside of us here in the studio. And the way you do that is go over to Prophet Radio. There's a blue bar on the very bottom right-hand side of the page. Opens up, it says Be Heard. Opens up a microphone on whatever device you're listening to us on. Speak right into it. And it comes right into our inbox here, and we'll play it on the very next podcast. And you can be right alongside of us. You can ask us any questions if you want to do shout out, saying, hey, it's my mom's birthday, it's my dad's birthday, whatever you want to do. or just say whatever you like to say. We'd love to hear from you as well. And that's Be Heard over on Prophet Radio as well. And while you're over there, get yourself some free stuff, some free swag. Fill out that as well. Now, my wife loves to have, what is it? Not lip gloss. Is it lip gloss? Not lip gloss. It's chapstick. And for a while there, in my time, I was doing like chapstick and Blistex and all that stuff, just keep my lips nice and fresh, nice and silky. I was born and raised in Orlando, Florida, lived there for most of my life, up until the last 15 years, where we moved up here to North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, in a town we'd like to call Marshville. And, Blistex and all that stuff, because the sun, your lips get either sunburn or windburn or anything like that. And so I always have Blistex. My wife loves to have Burt's Bees. And if you ever watch that documentary, it's pretty depressing and pretty upsetting at the same time. So there's a documentary out there that talks about Burt's Bees and how it came to be and how this girlfriend of his stole everything from him. Make you look at that whole brand in a different location. Now, my wife loves Burt's Bees because of what it is. The actual product is still true to what he made when he first started the program. So she's got, actually, believe it or not, on Amazon, sometimes you can buy a product and it automatically renews, like every month or every 2 months. She gets a refresher pack from Amazon every 3 months, I guess. And it's like 4 of them. And she will go through 4 or 5 of them. And I don't know if it's a nervous thing or an oral thing. You know, she's always got to put this, Burt's Bees on her lips. But now there's a TikTok trend that's coming out there. Actually, it went away because everyone's like, oh, that doesn't work. But now it's coming back again. The dangerous Beezin TikTok trend is now back. Here's what parents need to know if your kids are beezing out there. Dangerous social media trends are nothing new, and we've seen Gen X go through a whole bunch of different things like shoving garlic up the nose and taping their mouth shut so they can sleep better, all these other things. But Beezin is a new TikTok trend. You may want to think twice before buying certain types of Burt's Bees chapsticks for your kids. Well, first of all, I'm not buying Burt's Bees for my kids. My kids do not need chapstick. Adults need chapsticks. Kids can go on their own and deal with Vaseline or something like that. Kids' lips don't get chapped. Let's not coddle these kids anymore, right? When your kid's old enough to pay stuff or buy stuff with their own money, then they can buy their own Burt's Bees. Deemed an unsafe way to alter mental states using the Burt's Bees, a huge risk. It's not a trend that you want your kids to try. Here's what parents need to know about Beezin. Beezin refers to rubbing Burt's Bees peppermint or menthol flavored chapsticks on your eyelids. Okay, according to TikTok, well, come on. All right, I'll look at you in a minute. I know there, sweetie. You want to be famous. According to TikTokers, it's supposed to make you feel buzz, high, or super alert. Influencer Lily Knock Music has over 36 million views on her Beezin TikTok, putting Burt's Bees on my eyelids at night without knowing what it does. She transitions into a clip with flashy lights at a party. So here we go. If you want to see this video, now's your chance. Go over to YouTube. For every podcast we do, have a matching video. You can see me here in the studio. You can see all the mistakes and stuff that we have behind the scenes and all me screaming at the computer because things don't work. So go over to YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. So here's your chance right now. Here's a perfect video. Make sure I got the right screen up so we can all see it and we can all be friends. So here we go. This is Lily Knot Music. Oh, now I got to click on this and do this. All right, here we go. Oh, wrong. Shut up. Here we go.
Putting Burt's Bees on all my friends without telling them what it does.
I hate when they do everything. This is stupid. All she's doing is taking Burt's Bees, whatever this brand is, and rubbing it all over her friend's eyelids and stuff. And it's supposed to make you feel like high or something like that. All right, let me tell you something, people. Little kids gather around. Mr. Deacon's going to tell you a little story. So my wife and I took a trip over to Costa Rica. And part of the trip, it is in the rainforest. So we were literally in this hunting lodge that was off. It was off season. So everything was open. And it was rainy. It's like, it was nice. It was really, really fun because in the peak time, this is a hunting lodge where people have to do like hunting, like animals and stuff in the rainforest. So we're walking around with the local guide and he comes across this patch of whatever on the ground. And he goes, everything in the rainforest is unique. Everything's got a purpose in the rainforest. So we're walking and we're going down this trail and he goes, all right, stop. And his name's Miguel. And Miguel says, all right, everyone, come around. And he's got a little accent. And he's like, all right, feel this grass right here. And you feel it. It's like small. It looks like a rosemary, but coming out of the ground. A little softer than rosemary. And he goes, all right, take a pinch and put it underneath your nose. And he goes, before you take a pinch, make sure you don't breathe a whole lot or I'm going to lose you. I'm like, all right. So I'm like going, what are we smelling here? And you smell it. And you smell it. And he's like, do you smell it? I'm like going, well, no, it's kind of raining and stuff. He goes, grab another one and smell it. And he goes, now rub it on your hand or rub it on your arm or rub it on a joint. I'm like, all right. So we're rubbing this grass or whatever, these little sprigs. And he goes, how do you feel? And I go, well, it's kind of numbing and cooling at the same time. He said, this patch of area, and it was like, 1 by 2 foot area. This is the menthol plant. This is what they pick. They make fields of this, but we just happen to have this little area right here of a menthol plant. And you pick it and you can, rub it and do whatever on your hands or whatever. And you could feel it. It's got that menthol feeling. And then they'd make medicines out of it and so on and so forth. And it was somewhat cooling. I wasn't high. I wasn't like out of control. Like I'm ready to jump off a, 56-story building thinking that I can fly. But they're saying that this is what the kids are doing. They're putting Burt's Bees on their eyelids on a night, to keep themselves alive and awake during, late night issues. Well, the menthol itself has somewhat of a property to keep you awake and alert or relaxed. It makes you relax. I know I sleep with earplugs in my ears, and I take Vicks Vapor Rub, which has menthol in it, and I rub it on my earplugs, and I put them in my ear so that vapor. Oops. So I put it on my earplugs and stick it in my ears because I know that vapor will go through my ear, mouth, and throats and make me relax and be calm and hopefully breathe better throughout the night. I know my wife sometimes, you're snoring. Wake up, you're snoring. Now, this guy right here was not snoring at a local Walmart. In Columbia, South Carolina, Walmart shoppers, including a military veteran, were captured on video helping to subdue a man waving a knife around and threatening people in a South Carolina store. The incident was reported on January 4th at the Walmart store in the city of Columbia. The video recorded by an employee shows a man in a red hoodie shouting and swearing inside the store and brandishing a knife. the person who took the video said this: I was in self-checkout where I worked, and the customer came in and demanded $20. An employee, I saw that he had a knife after him, yelling and demanding $20. And I said, ooh, he has a knife. And one of the managers tried to confront him. Another shopper, later identified as veteran Demario Davis, is later captured on video striking the man in the red hoodie with a pole used at the checkout line. And the man falls to the ground, and other witnesses appeared to take the knife away from him. So if you want to see this video, make sure you follow us on YouTube and stuff. And here we go with the video. So here's the video. Let's see. Let's blow this up. Might be a commercial. Hold on. So here's the video. Ooh. And he's cussing, so they didn't bleep it out. They just kind of muted it out. So here we go. So it cuts to another guy. Here's the manager coming up. Now the guy he's waving a knife around, and it's a small knife. It's like a fold-out knife.
Oh, not the 8-ounce dog.
And he's probably like 5'3".
$20, y'all. Walmart get a man $20.
So the manager's trying to calm him down a little bit, and he's waving the knife around.
One hit a quitter. I'm talking about a clean scoop ball his ass. Oh!
So the manager tried to take the knife away, and guy backed up.
Oh, he doing Dave Chappelle.
I don't know what that means. So then someone comes up behind the guy and hits him with one of the, forget what they're called, stanchions, that make you form a line, like cattle. And he grabs the post and smacks him from behind, hits him in the head, and puts him down on the ground. Don't hit me now. Now everyone's around him, and now the cops show up, and he's still fighting. He's on something, man. Poor guy, he's on something. Cops are on him. They're wrapping him up there. Now, so that's what happened there in Columbia, South Carolina. And he just was in there waving a knife around, a little fold-out knife, probably had like a 2-inch, 3-inch blade on it. And the guy who hit him in the back of the head with the stanchion was interviewed. So here we go. Let's go to the interview and give his full report as far as what actually happened. So here we go. Hold on.
A Walmart shopper is confronted with a man waving a knife, and then one of those customers knocks the guy down. Demario Davis is on the phone with me right now. You were able to get this guy on the ground. How did you do it?
Well, I saw the line divider over in the corner when I saw him waving the knife in the young man's face. So I just casually walked over there and grabbed the line divider and waited till he wasn't paying me any attention. And then I just went over the head with it.
I mean, that thing is heavy. And you can tell the guy is like whimpering in pain at this point. And then a few other customers come along, one of them taking the knife out of the guy's hands. And then I guess security jumps in to handcuff the man. But did you feel threatened, or did you think this is going to be easy to neutralize?
No, I actually felt threatened in the beginning. And I was really concerned about the young ladies he was after, because mostly he was chasing were young ladies. And there was some kids in there. So I was just looking at the situation as if, someone could get hurt. And I just went with my first instinct.
And did your military training help you in the situation?
Definitely. I went in the United States Air Force in October of 2001. That was literally a month after 9/11. Mm-hmm. So everything we were trained on was situations surrounding things like that.
Wow.
It's really amazing that you were there in this store, because I think everybody else was kind of just panicked and thinking, okay, where's security? Your son was with you. What did he say after all this?
He was like, Dad.
He was like, Dad, I'm never gonna be late for curfew again.
He was amazed, man. He was very proud of me. I mean, he looked at me. I guess, hey, that's my dad. You know, that's the big guy. Yeah, well, he's back at school at North Carolina Wesleyan now, and all his little friends up there are just going crazy about it.
Because the video's everywhere.
I see.
Demario Davis, that's awesome.
An actual weapon in his hands. My goodness, if he can use a line divider like that, it's like a sledgehammer.
Yeah, in the military, they teach you to adapt.
They do.
You have to adapt to your surroundings. You know, just to neutralize the situation. That's the only thing I could consider neutralizing at the time. That was in Walmart. That was close.
Yeah, well, that was the perfect thing to use. Thank you, Demario. We appreciate you joining us. Thanks for being a hero.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Well, there you go. So he took matters into his own hands and did a great job. I mean, you know, took the assailant down, and he said he was in the Air Force. He's a tall dude. He's like 6'4". If you watch the video there, he's 6'4". You got to be a little short guy to get underneath those planes. And so if you're in the Air Force, maybe he's on a different level of the Air Force where they don't mind anyone being 6'4" walking around on the flight deck. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Make sure you follow us on all your social networks. And the way you do that to connect to us is to go to Prophet Radio, PROPHET Radio. Click on the social contacts. Make sure you fill out all those forms. You'd like to be heard. We want you to be podcast famous. And get yourself some free stuff while you're over there as well. All right, guys, on that note, I'm going to let you get back to enjoying the rest of your day. I'm going to let you get back to doing what you got to do. My name is Deacon, saying good night and good night.
Wait. Come back.
Bye. I feel bad now. I have to say, enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Screw that. Just enjoy the rest of your day. See ya.